71%. That is how much agreement exists between three fields that have never spoken to each other: neuroscience, contemplative practice, psychedelic medicine, each working in isolation, each arriving at the same door. Something in the brain is too rigid, and that rigidity is the disease. For decades, researchers in separate laboratories noticed the same pattern. Meditators who had practiced for 20,000 hours showed it. Patients emerging from cardiac arrest described it. People given psilocybin in controlled settings experienced it. A loosening, a temporary dissolution of the boundaries the mind uses to organize reality. But here is what no one expected. The loosening does not fade when the experience ends. Something structural has changed. Weeks later, months later, the old rigidity has not returned. The question is not whether this happens. That has been documented across thousands of cases. The question is how three completely unrelated frameworks, serotonin chemistry, brain network architecture, and computational models of perception, all point to the same underlying mechanism, as if they were describing the same elephant from different angles, and none of them knew the others were in the room. The pattern that emerges is nested, like gears inside gears. At the chemical level, serotonin systems restore plasticity, the brain's capacity to rewire itself. At the network level, the default mode network, the brain's autopilot for self-referential thinking, suppresses and then reintegrates in a new configuration. At the computational level, the brain's predictive machinery, normally locked into rigid expectations, flattens. Reality stops being filtered through old models. These are not competing theories. They are zoom levels on the same process. What late-stage clinical trials are now showing is that this mechanism directly addresses treatment-resistant trauma. Veterans who had tried everything, therapy, medication, years of struggle, experienced durable relief after protocols built on this understanding. The evidence moved from laboratory to battlefield, and the outcomes held. But then there is this: LSD, a compound that acts on the same serotonin receptors, that produces the same network dissolution, that should by every measure follow the same therapeutic arc, is associated with increased suicidality in the data. Not psilocybin, not MDMA, just LSD. The contradiction sits in the evidence like a splinter. Same receptor, same brain networks, different outcome. And if the model is correct, this should not happen. The signal tears itself apart. One possibility: the mechanism is necessary but not sufficient. The constraint relaxation opens a window. What happens inside that window depends on factors the model does not yet capture. Setting. The specific phenomenology of the compound. The duration of exposure. LSD holds the window open for 12 hours. Psilocybin for 6. That difference alone could determine whether the loosening heals or destabilizes. The model does not break. It reveals its own incompleteness. And that incompleteness points toward the next experiment. Block the serotonin receptor during psilocybin administration. If the clinical benefit disappears with it, the mechanism is confirmed. If the benefit persists, something else is doing the work. The theory has made itself testable. That is how you know it is real. What this means is not abstract. It means that depression, PTSD, OCD, existential terror at the end of life, these may share a common root. Cognitive inflexibility, a brain locked into patterns it can no longer escape. And the treatments that work across all these conditions work because they address the lock itself, not the content of the suffering, the architecture that holds the suffering in place. Medicine has been treating symptoms. This is a map to the mechanism. 71%, 3 fields, completely unrelated, all arriving at the same door, and now someone has a key.